Hello, darlings. I'm speaking quietly because I've got my son and daughter-in-law here. My daughter-in-law is working next door, and I'm just popping up here because I was just having a quick look at these news, and it's just we're really coming up to the big yellow black, the big bang pop off. And that is when Pluto returns to yellow Sagittarius for his last retro back from Pluto. And just have a look at these headlines. So, Ukrainian authorities are warning that a nuclear incident could take place. You're way too close. Yellowstone tourists ignore park rangers. So the big black bear, Yellowstone. Shocking footage shows clashes in Paris. UK weather map turns red in massive 24-hour heat spike. Typhoon, Russian doomsday. UK weather, Brits brace for heavy rain and wind barrage, and El Nino is back. So it's just 50 famished fish feast on whale in Australian seas, right? 5-0, the five-pointed star. Cow on the run has beef with drivers in New Zealand. Powerful X-class solar flare. The Lego movie. Desperate Putin sends rusting tanks as ancient as woolly mammoths poo into Ukraine. And we're going to have a crane. Look, there's the big crane. Prince Harry's fights for trial in hacking case against Murdoch's UK group. Peru volcano sends ash. Russia on brink of nuclear anarchy. Horror moment, Doom Titan mini sub spins 360 degrees. I mean, it's just too ridiculous for words, and we're being told, and it's coming. So we've got the Queen and George. Exactly when temperatures in London will leap by 13 centigrades. 13 centigrade, that's your 13. Harry's son phone hacking claim is Alice in Wonderland stuff. Zara shops in Paris being looted. Z of the N, the NZ, New Zealand, the flip of the Z. So, if we open up right now, we've got Mercury coming close to Pollux. We've got Venus and Mars in Leo. We've got Jupiter conjunct North Node, Uranus in fire. So Venus, Mars in fire, Jupiter, Uranus, North Node in fire. Saturn at home on Fomalhaut, the missing fixed star. Moon in Capricorn right now. And this Pluto about to hit. So tomorrow is the 6th. We're going to have the moon conjunct Saturn. Tomorrow is 7-7, the dub LO7. And at 7 o'clock, we got the moon coming to be conjunct with Saturn as Pluto prepares for tomorrow to enter Sagittarius on the 8th. So Pluto arrived back in Capricorn in March. And now Pluto is going to do his last retrograde back to yellow mutable fire, the empire ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is an Aries, a high cardinal sign. Let's go back to now. Jupiter, ruler of Pisces, where Neptune is, water, and ruler of Sagittarius, where Pluto is, for the last retro. And Saturn, the true king. So for the worst tea party, teapot, mad hatters, there's the teapot party, to really disgrace the energy of Saturn, to really make everything that should be wonderful of this passage of having Saturn at home. Pluto is making exact squares to South Node and North Node. So North Node in Aries, he's making a square, and to South Node in Libra. So that's your Alpha Omega. We just had at AB, the top of the five-pointed star, the hurricane and the ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, all the trees in the forest, and particularly that town, Aveyron-Bergerac. I had it bad in the heart, but not nearly as bad. 5 people submerged in the Solomon vessel, which is exactly what is happening with Venus. Venus is going to be doing her retrogrades from the 22nd. There it goes, for 40 days and 40 nights. And she will start to move forward on the 3rd of September. That day I'll always remember. There. She starts to move forward again. So we've got these guys, Venus that makes the 5-pointed star in the sky every 8 years. She's finishing a buckle here, 2023. And Jupiter, let's go back to now. Jupiter playing the king in Thou Shalt Have No Other, Alpha Omega But Me, Moses, Fire. Taking the role of the one who leads and guides the people through the Red Sea, opening the separation of the sea. This is what we should be living. And Saturn in Aquarius, this Fomalhaut, which is the only leg that doesn't touch the celestial sphere. The other fixed signs do. Taurus is already on that summer solstice. Summer solstice. 21, Sun in Taurus. So that's Rose and Jack. Rose, Taurus, and Jack, Merlin, rising up in the gap. And right now, Pluto about to go back. So it's all going to begin tomorrow with the moon conjunct Saturn. And the moon rules Cancer. We don't have anybody in Cancer now, but Venus will begin her journey back. Mercury is going to enter Cancer on the 11th. On the 11th. And the moon will at that time be coming up for a conjunction with Jupiter. And Pluto will be fully back in Sagittarius. So this we've got in my village next door on the 4th day of the Tour de France. They come to the town next to me. He talks about Toscan being very similar to the area where I live. Jazz and Marciac, of course, because I am the 322, the Jupiter and Mercury skull and bone cross area. We are that summer triangle just above Pluto. And he says here that he loves to bicycle up and down the curving countrysides and he especially enjoys, it reminds him of Tuscany, the colours in the evening of orange sky and violet. So, you know, ultraviolet, ultraviolence, orange, that is that colour of the sky at the twilight zone that we're going through, this gap. And then we've got, so I put this for the 7-Eleven. This is a film you should see. It's called The Belle Verte. I'm going to take you to see it in a second. I'm going to take you to see it. So 7-Eleven, 777, La Boum Boum, 7-Eleven, 11 opens the 22nd of July. Opens the 22nd July. It was the 3rd of September. Yep, that's when we've got the retrograde of Venus. 3773, we had the full moon 2 days ago on the 3rd of the 7th, and then on the 7th, 11/11/7, Pluto retro from Black Capricorn back in Sagittarius, 8th of July, ELLO. Mars, Venus in Leo on Regulus, Moon conjunct Jupiter, Aries North Node, and Uranus in Aries, Mercury in Cancer, opposite Pluto in Sagittarius. Yod, finger of God, you'll see in a second, pointing to Mars, ruler of Aries, sextile between Neptune in Pisces and Pluto in Sagittarius. So Mars making a sextile to those two signs that Jupiter rules, Neptune in Pisces, Pluto in Sagittarius. Moon rules Cancer where Mercury sits opposite Pluto, Sun in Gemini, and Saturn still retro in Aquarius on Fomalhaut, opposite Mars and Venus in Leo, and Venus goes retro the 22nd. So the 11th of July is World Population Day, so they might want to begin their so-called depopulation. Bastille Day is the 14th of July, and Pi Day is July the 22nd. Pi Approximation Day is celebrated on July the 22nd each year to honour the mathematical constant pi, life of pi, and its significance in the world of mathematics. The date is chosen because of the fraction 227 is a common approximation of pi. So we've got 11th, Moon, Jupiter conjunct, just after the moon was conjunct to Saturn. This is the whole colour of the Tour de France. It's all in yellow and black. We had the 18-year-old boy shot in a car by police, yellow and black, of course. So in Nanterre, Nan is the Nan, the old lady, making, you know, demonizing Capricorn black and joining Capricorn with Sagittarius when the true merging is with Aquarius and Capricorn, Saturn at home in Aquarius. So he becomes the beast as Jupiter, the hero, merges with this Capricorn energy, bringing up the rebels, the heroes, the gangsters, releasing the prisons, paying Russian provocateurs to attack their own country. Same happening everywhere. The rebels in Paris, they're opening the doors to all these, to the gangsters. So Sun will be on Sirius, in Gemini on Pollux. We've got Pluto retrograde back in Sagittarius. These charts never show us. They're going to show you just Pluto in Capricorn because he is retrograde from Capricorn, but he is in Sagittarius. Opposite Mercury now in Cancer. Moon that rules Cancer in high cardinal fire, conjunct Jupiter. And this North Node square to Mercury and square to South Node and square to Pluto and square to North Node. Wow, we. In high cardinal Libra and Aries and Cancer and Capricorn. Sun in Gemini on Sirius and Pollux. Uranus ending his period from the opening of the yellow coats in France to now the ending to open the same energy of yellow coats worldwide. Chaos. It's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And Chiron is on his way back to finish his cycle from 1977, and we're about to come to that famous 7-7 and 7-11, 7-7-7. And 9-11 is sept 7. And the 7 months between now and January, January is the John, the Janus, the fighting for this Midnight Express solstice of the Grand Cardinal Cross. Venus going retrograde from Regulus, Mars making this semi-square to, well, no, proper square to Uranus. You know, there's the 7-7, there's your black and yellow. Here's Pluto back in Sagittarius. Revolution, the one breast, the voyage of the moon, yellow, red, black, white, and that green smoke. 2001, the breast of Venus was on the French newspapers 2 days before the storms for the black moon on the 18th of June. We got one day of the aliens and showing this breast of Venus, the same as the breast in the revolution. It's your breast of Venus. Again, nuclear yellow black, the 5-0. They said 50 fish eating a whale. Whale is Pisces. Black, yellow, La BOUM, the most famous film in France. The boom boom of the fox. The boom of Harry. The canary lost his friend with the crane. That crane just going over to northeast. The yellow black, Michael Jackson, Jupiter and Mercury with Rose. Rose, Taurus being risen with Sagittarius. Jack behind Rose as the cross on the Titanic. It's the canary on Medulla. The can, taxi driver, yellow black. The meter is ticking. Harry's I Am a Victor's Games. Killers of the Flower Moon. The ovation was 9 minutes, and the ovation for Jean de Barry, the pillars of our temples, Boaz and Jacqueline pillars, that journey Venus is making between moon and sun, Cancer and Leo, and back to Regulus again, and they had 7-minute ovation. So that's 7-9, that can also be 7-6 tomorrow. It was the 76th Can Festival. Yellow black, Toulouse. This is the new air base. This is taking Saturn's place. Jupiter, Pluto back in Jupiter in Toulouse. Toulouse is the red square of Taurus, just like in Trafalgar Square. It's known as the Pink Town, La Ville en Rose, Grace Jones. The Pink Town, the Pink Panther. Joe Le Taxi, in that video, Joe Le Taxi, she goes under the tunnel of Alma. You see all the pillars, the 13th pillar. Diana was sacrificed on the 31st. And we're going to have the English Rose in Paris. And this is the rising of the French Virgo girls as the Me Too bullies, the connasses, the garces, bringing this energy into Europe. There is the canary, there is the 5-pointed star, there is Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, the clown nose, and the adder, the can of adders, the medulla. People who are unconscious, they do things unconsciously. You sneeze unconsciously. You're sick unconsciously. Your body takes over for better or worse when you give birth. I was very young. I flowed through breathing, just completely connecting to my body. But some people were all different. We all have different experiences of that life-death portal. There's no right or wrong. Got the blue, red, and yellow. So that was for the opening of the yellow coats. You had the 5 Venus, and now we've got the closing since that opening of the Venus 5-pointed star. Roundabout. Venus is the round. She rules circles and voluptuous and harmony and balance and art and justice. And they use the Philosopher's Stone in Taurus in the triangle. Yellow coats. It's a roundabout. All their demonstration was on roundabouts. It means retrograde as well. It means we're coming back. These are the bears of Yellowstone. Allumez le feu. He died in 2017, the same time as Uranus entered Aries, and the fires began worldwide in California. Yellow coats, that one bent arm up, and these are the Zad. There's your salamandra, always fire, alchemy, just as in Picnic at Hanging Rock. And next to me there is the forest known as the 9 salamandras. Well, it's one of the 9 forests in my area. And this was the Zad that were against the airport in Notre-Dame-de-Londres, which is in Brittany, which is that connection where I am. I showed you the Bastides, and they were known as Armagnac and Brittany. This connection, we're on the border of Les Landes, and this is in Nantes in Brittany, and this connection between the people of Brittany, the Celtics, and the Gascon, where I am. Alistair Crowley, 777. And we're back to the beginning. So, quick post. Currently, the mutable cross dominance of the 4 corners winter-summer solstice is ending. Gemini, Sagittarius, Cupid, Valentine, CV322, mutable cross axis, and Virgo, Pisces, Corona, and Victor, CV322, spring-fall equinox. The horizon, Putin, and their version of the Ukraine, but it's a cross. It's a mutable cross, so it's not upright like the fixed. Merlin sits between Gemini, Taurus. Yeah, the new gem in the eye is Taurus summer and Scorpio winter. So we've now got Taurus on the summer solstice. Scorpio is not yet. It's still Sagittarius. So we've got Taurus, that's why Rose stands on the Titanic, and Sagittarius is still currently on the winter solstice. Let's have a look. The winter solstice, 12, 21, and the sun. Sun is still in Sagittarius. It's not in Scorpio yet. When does it go to Scorpio? 2062. It's still not there. Now, this is what you find out in Lars's videos. That's just beginning. It just hits. So he says in his video which Taurus is now already on the summer solstice. So Taurus, the bull, the me too, the female energy, the rose, the Tudor, Elizabeth line, the Macbeth. The Elizabeth line is ruling for a long time with the mutable cross. So The new gem in the eye is Taurus summer and Scorpio winter solstice, Aquarius, Leo, spring, fall, equinox. Merlin sits between Gemini and Taurus. The fixed cross, the 4 fixed stars take back their central cross. But Merlin, Sagittarius, Arthur, Gemini, rise Jack the Joker, taking up all that Milky Way gap, rising Ophiuchus in the 13th sign, Jack the Joker to crucify us in the galactic gap transition period. Taurus is the new stone, Aldebaran, the gem in the eye, the philosopher's stone. The stones are always on the equinox. They rejected the true stone because it's not going to be a while until Aquarius falls onto the equinox. The stones are always on the equinox solstice points. The Gemini, Sirius, Gemini, keeper of the 4 corners of the mutable cross. So the first beginning of the mutable time was when Gemini was the keeper of the 4 corners, Sirius. That time is over. Now we move on to fixed cross and the stones, fixed stars change. So we have in my area the arrival of the ZZ tops, that's 7777, keeper of the 4 corners, yellow and orange, Romulus and Remus, Gemini, Cars, and Sagittarius, the rebels. Venus goes retrograde between Leo, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Solomon, 22nd of July to 3rd of September, 40 days, 40 nights, the temptations. Papa was a rolling stone. It was the 3rd of September. That day I'll always remember. Yes, I will. 'Cause that was the day that my daddy died. I never got a chance to see him. Never heard nothing but bad things about him. Mama, I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. Mama just hung her head and said, son, Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone. So, that's it. You know, I always think about Papa as PlutO. This woman is just amazing. This is what you've got to incarnate. Well, this is Sagittarius. This is Pocahontas. This is the vibe to embrace. Can't get a better example of Capricorn Earth shaman with Sagittarius, Pocahontas, and also Scorpio, because Scorpio is the true rising female keeper of the birth, the death and life portal, and that joining of Libra, air, and Scorpio. And here we've now got Aquarius and Saturn, air, and PlutO just back to Sagittarius. You know, Polynesian energy, but this is a really nice mixture of that Indian, the true Indian air, North America, Canada. It's very nice. So I'll just leave you with this image of this big grand cross between the cardinal signs with the head and the tail of the snake in Alpha Omega, and the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, PlutO just back in Sagittarius, and Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, where the sun is, and Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, where PlutO is, and Pisces, where Neptune and Chiron is. those two making, they've got, yeah, we've got Pluto making, you know, all these, this big square to South and North Node and an opposition to Mercury. In the mother, Kali, giving the rebel child that energy. Yeah, this is, I'm talking about the collective energy, but in our personal lives, this is lovely. The child's coming home, I've got my baby with me. And, you know, these high cardinal energies, the moon in Aries with Jupiter, you know, really giving that cardinal, that a beautiful merging of that fiery mother and the protective energy of her child. But if that's used in the wrong way as Kali, and Mars the ruler in Leo. Okay, darling, so I'm going to end here, and I'll be doing my newsletter, so think to subscribe so that you can get the newsletter. I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll do a tarot. And I just wanted to do an update on just this yellow-black tension rising, and to make sure you can balance implosion with explosion, and just finding your center, 13th place, with 360-degree vision of this Mad Hatter's Tea Party. What did they say? They said Harry's court case was like in Alice in Wonderland. I mean, they do tell us Pluto is back to the teapot. It's the teapot. Okay, darlings, I love you. Bye for now.